Google Ads hour where we talk about Google Ads, and I'm very creative, as you could tell. All right. So today is going to be a fun one. Dave's here. Hey, Dave. I helped Dave on a LinkedIn chat like last night and this morning. We're solving the world's problems. And I think I actually fixed the share screen, what's it called? Definition, because I think, full high definition video. Hopefully it's not all choppy and horrible. It says some platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook are downgrading stream quality to HD, which is weird. It's like downloading to high definition. So hopefully when I share screen, everyone can see it. If not, I'll just read numbers on the screen. Then you can follow along audio. So, hey, Dave. Hey, Brent. How are you? This is going to be a fun one. Wait until some people get here. Oh, wow. That just shot up from like 8 to 15 people. Now back down to 8. Now it's up to 15. I don't know what's going on, but either there's a lot of people here or no one at all.
We're getting hacked. That's what's going on.
Yeah. Everyone's VPNing in and getting banned. Hopefully Restream's not running Clixies, which is not great, by the way. So let's do this. All right. So I think we got many people here as we want to. And let's start. So I wanted to share a case study. And I want to share a case study for Northbeam. And again, because I'm basically now known as the MER man, it's going to be, you guessed it, about MER. So I know we've talked about this before, and it's getting a little redundant now, and I'm sorry, but I actually have a use case where this has been proven to a really high degree. Adding in $12,000 in ad spend, or $11,000 in ad spend into Facebook because of what we saw in Google, and using Northbeam as a top conversion path, looking at individual channel MER, and how we actually said we should stop any sort of scale on Facebook and give, or on Google, and give 100% of any new ad spend to Facebook. And I'm a Google person that I hate Facebook, the company, but I can't deny, obviously, the effectiveness that the channel has for growing small businesses. Even it's when you look at other metrics, not in-app metrics. We all know Facebook is going to take 100% of the credit for everything that it gets near. Same with Google. And we all know that they're going to also try to go after those returning users. And that's the issue that we see all the time, is that Advantage Plus Shopping, Performance Max, they all work the same way. Facebook has a better system than Performance Max. Advantage Plus is a better system than Performance Max. We've been trying to hack Performance Max, and we've been trying to reverse engineer Performance Max to make it work the way it was supposed to since day one. And we're making progress, but then Facebook comes out and just does it the right way right off the bat. So, and I'm not caressing my microphone, there's a hair on it. I look up and I'm like, what's John doing?
I wasn't going to say anything.
I'm petting my snowball. It's getting awkward fast. Let's dive in. All right. So we have a company that sells hammocks, and they were hemorrhaging cash year over year. I'm going to pull up just the back end here, and I'm going to try not to show the client's name, which may not work. We'll be able to blur this out later. Anyway, let's just share screen. Let's dive right in. Who cares? I think that is right. That's the window. All right, cool. It worked. So this is the client January 1st through January 31st compared to previous year, down 20%. February, same thing, down 35% year over year. March, same thing, down 51% year over year, just hemorrhaging cash. And what we were looking at inside of Northbeam to determine how to scale, how to get this client back, because we found out that we were fairly tapped out from an efficiency standpoint in Google. Google was not going to move the needle any more than what it was already doing. One of the reasons being is if you go to Google and you type in hammock, we're here and we're here. If you go into like most comfortable hammock, again, we're here and we're here. Now, it's running some sales, so they're getting some good placements, but not bad placements. We're owning the half of the homepage of the cert. So when you look inside of Northbeam, for example, we're at 812% ROAS, or 8.12 ROAS, or 8.12 MER, whatever. We're getting an 8x return. And we needed a scale. And what happened was the previous Facebook agency was going after too much warm traffic, which is, again, how I always say you can't go after too much warm. Going after too much warm will cause this to affect negatively at scale. So Google's doing well. Google's getting a great return. Yes, there is some brand. Yes, there is some dynamic remarketing built into PMAX that I just can't get rid of for the life of me unless, someone at Google actually understands real marketing and can fix some things. But we're looking inside of conversion paths from before. And this is one of the reasons why I really like Northbeam, is because the data is not correct. And I'm just going to say that I'm an investor in Northbeam. I put tens of thousands of my own dollars into Northbeam, and it's not going to be correct. Nothing ever will. It will not. You can't take Northbeam's data at face value. And I will be the first one to say that, but I don't need it to. We need it to be accurate with a trend. So I wanted to share this with you here because when we're looking back in time, this is back in February, we were looking and say, okay, we have a search, and then we had an awareness. This is not actually the company here. So if you see this company name, this is the new company that just renamed previous campaigns. So it was inherited through Northbeam. So this new company that's in there is not having this issue. They're just labeled that way. So just understand that if you see this company here on the screen, I'm not going to say it out loud because these all will be blurred, but at the time, this is the good company now. This is just, they inherited past previous performance from back in February. So I was looking, I'm like, well, you have an awareness that's after a Google click, and then you have another awareness that's after a Google click. And then you have another awareness campaign of, I think that was here, called cold. This cold is after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The 11th path is cold. Now, of course, PMAX comes in and says, haha, like again, they're gonna go warm. But my search campaigns are doing really well to bring in the first time clicks. So when I was looking, I was like, I know that this Facebook agency is saying that they're getting a 4x on cold. However, that's not the case. It isn't cold. That's why when you scale, the click attributed conversions are like 0.18. That is bad, obviously. Now, I don't look at specific ROAS by channel. I never have. But when you can see a sheer drop off of all sales for nothing, it means that it wasn't actually doing the work itself. It wasn't generating those sales. Here's what I mean is if this was actually cold with fairly good, Facebook ads consistency and spend, it wouldn't just lose 94% of its revenue and bring down to a lot of bad split conversions of 1.09. These are not cold campaigns. And when you look at the difference with the performance that in Facebook and Google will drop the same. So you see a trend where Facebook hemorrhages cash, and so does Google starts to hemorrhage cash. Like, it was really, really bad. Now, this is back in February where no one buys hammocks. I understand that part. We're not going to have great performance. But year over year, we're losing customers. We're losing revenue. Things are not good year over year. Something needs to change. So a new company comes in and knows what they're doing. And the new company, what we did is looked at the cold versus warm splits inside of Facebook. Facebook can exclude the 180-day website visitors. Facebook can exclude the past purchasers. Performance Max tries to, but they use more of a cookie-based method rather than simply matching it by customer list. So when we're looking at the splits here, well, the reason why this is working well is because of this. If you look inside of Facebook, for example, the cold versus warm traffic in their Advantage Plus campaigns, for example, is bringing in 890 visits. 727 of them are new. If you go in the past 14 days, very similar. You see Facebook here has a 1,500 visits, 1,300 of them are new. Now the retargeting is like 1,407. That's half. That makes sense. This is not, again, you're not going to get a new visit off of retargeting. This is why Northbeam will not actually be correct. Nothing ever will, but it gives you a trend. If this metric is wrong, that metric's wrong, that metric's wrong, that metric's wrong. Great. Well, what is the ratio of the wrong metric? This one looks a lot more cold. Good. That's all we needed to know. So now we're looking at, well, this client wants to stay above a 6. Okay. So in anybody's right mind, no one would have taken a 2.89 ROAS campaign and crank it up 100% in 2 weeks, right? They're like, hey, I need to stay above a 6. Well, why would you take the 2.89 and crank it up? Because ROAS doesn't matter. The only thing that actually matters is top line MER. So we're looking at cranking this up 100%. You see how the bad number got a little bit better. It's still bad, though. It's below goal. Look at the top line metrics. 38% more in spend, 46% more in revenue. MER held. MER held at a 7.93. You know, it got 5.3% better after scaling a 2.89. The math doesn't math, right? So CAC also held 14% of an $82 CAC is $10. So doubling in 2 weeks and only changing your CAC up by $10. Who cares? That MER is great. It actually got better because the items that they're purchasing had a higher AOV. So CAC doesn't matter if MER is getting better on higher AOV products. So that's what we're looking at here. Is we're using Norpbeam to identify, okay, what is cold? This here. What's more warm? This here. If you look at the top line metrics, I'm trying to go as cold as humanly possible inside of Google Ads, and I'm 15 and 11, where Facebook is 10 and 8.5. It is a colder ratio. That's about an 80% cold. Mine is about a 68% cold. I have brand in there. I don't care. I'm supposed to have brand in there. I have Performance Maxes doing dynamic remarketing. I don't care. I'm supposed to have that in there. Why? Because my strategy is to scale cold, which when you look at these numbers here and then compare them to these numbers here, I actually kind of don't care what this looks like in here. The reason why, when you kind of simplify things, because this here is getting better at 30% with no spend. I haven't done anything. I'm not doing anything. This is clicks only model, which is where's clicks? Well, is there remarketing here? Yeah, there's a bit. Is there first time customers coming in here in Google? Yeah. Why? Because of this. Now, I'm not saying the only reason why Facebook or Google is good is because of Facebook, but I'm getting a lift. I'm earning credit for Facebook's hard work. I haven't put a dime more in here. Actually, I got 6% less new visits. Then we look at first click. Well, what about where the first touch point is? If the first touch point in Google is still at 27, well, how does that happen? Well, you have brand. Brand, you're going to have people that are going to search for you for the first time after seeing an ad 12 times. I'm going to inherit that from a first touch perspective. So yes, you can scale first touch, but you have to understand why you're getting that first touch and what type of first touch is it. That sounded really creepy. Sorry about that. Well, where's the first click? Not first touch. Sorry, I'm just using this. But where's the first click coming from? So looking at everything kind of in a whole, you can sort of see that with a scalable cold traffic audience, no matter where you get it, YouTube, you can do it with Facebook, you do it inbound search. Scaling a cold traffic campaign is good, but knowing that I am number one as much as possible on search, and I do see that I am getting first click attributed, I'm fairly maxed out. I can't spend too much more than about 12 grand a week at a 6-7x return. The rest of that is coming from this scale. So when you're looking back at things and you say, well, why dump in 100% more ad spend into this MER? Well, it's not about that specific MER. It's just incorrectly being measured. By all I want to know is, remember when I think it was like 1 or 2 weeks ago, I said, find benchmark MERs by channel. See again how this math doesn't math. A 7.4 averaged down by 2.7 does not equate to a higher MER than both of these here when you average them out. This shouldn't happen. But you get Klaviyo, which is the email that makes, $6,400 more. Well, why does Klaviyo work? Because people are coming to the site. Where are they coming from? Ta-da! So we're looking at these things here. Finding benchmarks. All I want to know is, can I scale this up? I don't need this to get better. I need this to hold. I need this to hold. I need that to hold, and that will hold. This got a little bit less. This got a little bit more. This held. Why? Because of conversion paths. If you have bringing more people here that end up landing more here, you get more MER. So check this out. There's a new area inside of Norpbeam. This is what I like about this, called model comparison. We developed this from the old school model comparison that was in analytics UA, and then the Google Ads model comparison tool that's going to be going away because they're going to be saying, do you want last click or data driven, which is the stupidest thing in the world. But watch the first touch and last touch. And we can actually see the first touch and last touch by platform. And let's just do Facebook and Google. Well, in the last, let's just do 14 days because you're going to see the scale here. In the last 14 days, the first touch brought 232,000. The last touch is 177. This is not supposed to be up. It's supposed to be down, but just go with it. I've lost 55 grand from first touch to last touch between these two platforms. Google Ads, 171 first touch, 132 last touch. Facebook, 60 first touch, 44 last touch. We break these out here. You can actually see the standard shopping campaign actually made more last touch than first touch. Fairly interesting. But when you're looking at the performance max in search, I am getting more first touch, less last touch. This is good. This is healthy. I've actually had performance max campaigns, and I'll share with you one that's so funny. And this is why performance max sucks. Is if I look at this client here, launched a new campaign, performance max in a brand new country, 4x ROAS. I'm like, that's bad. I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. And I was supposed to launch a when is a CMO lesson, as is said 2 weeks ago, John? It's been kind of a rolling theme, I guess. This is, welcome to CMO 2.0, I guess. This is kind of how we're looking. So I think, I don't know. I should probably do like a CMO type of thing one of these days where it's like more CMO. This is kind of that. But check this out here. PMAX in the UK. First touch, 23,000. Last touch, 26. You want to scale that? There's another PMAX in our country. Oh, and it happens again here. PMAX in Greece. 1,600 first touch, 2,100 last touch. Uh-oh. I'm getting more last touch than first touch. And this is based off the cookie data inside of Northbeam. Is it 100% correct? No. Is the trend right? Yes. Look at standard shopping. $4,500 first touch, 731 last touch. I lose 73 sales out of 93 sales. I basically lose 80% in standard shopping. You want to know why standard shopping has a shit ROAS? There you go. Great at cold traffic scale. Really bad at data-driven attribution, which is Google's multi-split attribution. Standard shopping here, 3,400 first touch, 1,200 last touch. Again, now imagine this thing is going to get sucked up by PMAX. Well, it is. PMAX is going to come in and say, nope, mine. PMAX has a great ROAS. Why is standard shopping at 60%? Well, you gave it 1/5 of the conversion it actually earned, data-driven. So by looking at what would I scale? Well, I would definitely just search. I'm losing 43 out of 76. So it goes down 76 to 33. Back in brand, back in PMAX, back in another channel. Or sorry, another campaign inside of Google. So all that stuff here is, Joe, what is GBA parameter? That's just going to be for iOS apps. So if you're pushing app campaigns inside of Google, that's going to help you deep link apps inside of the app itself. So unless you're pushing apps inside of Google, it doesn't apply to you. Sorry, I'm just ADD all of a sudden. I was like, wait, a question. But there's other questions. So sorry, I'm going to go into Q&A. But that's what's interesting here is you want to be able to measure, am I bringing more first than last touch? In my brand, this one just started, by the way. I don't have any first touch. I have all last touch. Good. I know that. That's what I want. Anybody tells me to scale brand, I don't work with that client or I fire them internally. But thank God we don't have anybody like that here. But that's the reason right there. Yeah, you only spent $12, made $463. No, you didn't. I stole from that or Facebook. So that's a good way to identify this is, can it scale? Yes. Now watch this. Here's Facebook. Retargeting, more last touch than first touch. Good, it's doing its job. The awareness campaigns, 40 down to 22. Out of 24 sales, I lost 12. I lost half. In the awareness, 40 to 35. Out of 9, I lost 2. That's okay. That's not too bad. So that's what's really interesting is you can kind of see the awareness here. First touch, 218, 957. Last touch, not good. Or is it? If I'm targeting all my own traffic, that's okay. That's what this is going to try to do. Advantage Plus is going to try to do that. Same with Performance Max. You can set it as cold as you can and scale it. I don't need to have the metrics here. I need my retargeting to look like this here. This is gonna inquire, or this is gonna help this here. So all this is to be said is when you're looking at the differences of where to scale. This is a really helpful tool for us. Is there more last touch than first touch? If so, that's bad for scale. Doesn't matter what gets first click, what gets last click. That's okay. Just don't scale last touch or last click. But it was really interesting to see that going through this whole thing, monitoring the click paths, identifying the coldest traffic sources, having a good marketer hat on and saying, yes, my audience actually is on that platform, and making sure that the Google team says, don't give me any more money. If you scale on Facebook, I'm going to look better. Facebook's going to look better. And watch this. Since doing so, this company here, see how they were, again, we went from negative 20, negative 30, negative 50. The last 30 days, 48% up year over year. Conversion rate's down 30%. Good. It's cold now. Thank you. I don't mind conversion rate going down. The colder you get, the less they buy from a conversion rate standpoint. This is at 30% conversion rate. You just have really good email and no other paid traffic. That's kind of the thought process there. Cohorts suck. I don't get returning users. They're 15%. It's up 55%. Yeah, but these people don't buy more hammocks. They buy stands and straps. I don't care. So online stores up 50%, 40% in total sales. Sales attributed to marketing up 71%. Good. You see sessions by social source. Good. So now we went from failing down 40% this first quarter year over year to now we're up 50% year over year. And how? Well, we scaled a 2.5 MER channel to continue to get a 7.9x ROAS or MER. So that's what's interesting is anybody that says that they base everything off ROAS, just educate them. Send them this video. I mean, I'm doing this stuff for free here, folks. I'm trying to bring everyone kind of an elevated experience. But looking at the conversion path, I said this probably a year ago on my YouTube channel. Conversion path matters. That's all it is. It's only conversion path. When you take off I'm the Facebook team and I got to hit a Facebook ROAS. No, you don't. The client needs to win. And it's your job to identify how to get there. That's why the Google person said, please don't give me any more money. I don't need it. Don't give me any more. Put it somewhere else. And then we end up firing a Facebook agency to get her, hiring a new Facebook agency to get her, working with that Facebook agency to scale. And now we're up from a hemorrhage, January, February, March to now a 50% year over year growth. And Google didn't do anything. Google maintained that drop because at the time, the previous Facebook agency that was working with was good, but they weren't investigating their click paths. And that's where we saw that you can't mark something cold. That's at the 17th click path. It's not cold. And they definitely can't come back from Google. You don't want to be Facebook after Google. It should be Facebook first, then Google. That's how it's always been. Big companies usually spend 80% of Facebook, 30%, or sorry, 30. That's not math. They give 110%. They spend like 70 and 30 or 80-20 usually. That's good. That's fine. You can push Google, but it may not be that you're going to hit a point of diminishing returns usually faster. So I'll pause there. Caden, anything to add? Because I'm off my soapbox now.
Yeah, no, I think one of the things that kind of led us down this path too was just the whole change with Google going more towards Performance Max, right? Because we were kind of going through the whole like nitty gritty of like, okay, what is Performance Max doing? Like, we started out where it's like, okay, we got to add all these different types of audience signals and like, how is that going to impact the, overall account? And then further on, we just kind of figured out, well, audience signals don't really matter that much inside of Performance Max. It's just like, okay, you start there, but immediately it goes into the path of least resistance. So just by the nature of us understanding that, we then got involved with sort of like saying, okay, like where are these conversions coming from? And that's kind of expanded us more out to, using Northbeam more for like customer paths, because then that helps us understand Google more. And then we can obviously, teach the client as well, okay, like you were just saying, don't give budget to Google because we can't scale. Let's go into, Facebook more.
100% right. And you know what really, really pisses me off is Google tricking everyone. Even with the most recent updates, I'm going to pull something up that is going to make everyone here upset. But you 39 people, I don't know if it counts us. Maybe there's only 37 plus you and I. I don't know. The 40 people here, right? The 40 people here are going to get a explosive learning lesson in why the new Google Ads update and Performance Max is also completely screwing everything up. You know how Performance Max just came out with this? Watch this, everyone. This is why I hate Google. And this is why conversion paths matter more than anything ever. I'm running a full build PMax. This full build PMax is fantastic. I have 84 asset groups. And I drank the Kool-Aid. Outdoor enthusiasts, outdoor items. And I'm like, here's my user customer segments and user data. Cool. And I have 84 different asset groups. I have everything in here. I did it the right way, and it worked for a while. And then Google came out and said, hey guys, hey team, or hey everyone, I'm trying to say guys, we just released asset group performance. And I'm like, yeah, all right, everyone high-fived. And then it's like, wow, now I can go inside my asset groups and I can actually click table and I can see actually the conversions by the asset group. And I was like, wait a minute. No. If you look over here and you're making data-driven decisions here, you're going to fail. You will absolutely fail because Google's, again, stacking the deck. Watch this. In-market office supplies. Interesting. In-market office supplies. I have a 339 ROAS and I have $1,800 in conversion value, a $77 cost per conversion. I have the most conversions in this area here. And what's really weird is I was like, 30 days later, in market office supplies, awesome cost per conversion, 70 sales. Like, man, like this is fantastic. I spent $3,900, make 36 grand. Woo! That doesn't make sense. It's a freaking hammock company. Office supplies. That's the signal. Because that's what was in my insights tab. People interested in office supplies buy a hammock. All right, whatever, Google, I'll do it. And then Google did this. Hey, by the way, that the brand name here, it's on 82 asset groups. And did you know that office supplies actually was responsible for $14,000 worth of sales? Oh, so now it doesn't mean anything, right? My brand landed in an arbitrary asset group that fluffed up that number. Now all of the assets in there actually don't mean anything. It was just Google basically shoving a brand one in there with a big $4,000 purchase of a hammock throne. But again, hammock chair, good. Best hammock, good. Hammock, best hammock withstand 2-person hammock. Very cold. Very, very good. Good. But now with this brand name here, over a larger period of time, having a lot of conversions that I still want. Again, I don't care if I get brand in here. I look at CAC-MER. I don't look at in-app. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. So, but I look here and I have 82 asset groups that overlap for every single term. Now, what does this matter? It doesn't. It doesn't. I have so many clicks in so many asset groups. And look at this. What 60, 27, 23, 23, 17, 16, 15, 15, 15. What does it matter? So Google's answer is yes, all keywords and all asset groups all the time. Cool. What am I supposed to do? The signal doesn't obviously mean anything. You mean the people that are interested in office supplies love my brand? No. It doesn't mean anything. So that's the part two where Google came out with this really, really cool asset group tool and asset reporting that people are going to make some really expensive decisions off of before really vetting and verifying and understanding conversion paths. These people probably came from Facebook. It has nothing to do with the office supply signal. So that's the part that really, really upsets me. Like Google has a chance to make this very clean and very good. And they're not. And they're not doing it.
It would be interesting to see like pure cold Performance Max, like how that would actually work, you know, like in unison with like, for example, a pure cold Facebook campaign and like having just two platforms that are just as cold as possible. And then you just scoop it up with like, you know, remarketing campaign separate or, you know, brand even. Mm-hmm. I'd be curious to see how that would kind of overlap with everything. Cause then that kind of utilizes other channels more effectively too. Like, you know, for example, the whole display side of Google is extremely underutilized, but it's just a complete like nightmare to kind of understand what's going on because, you know, bot traffic is just everywhere there.
Oh, so, I know. I know bot traffic, even Google's. I mean, Google sends a click from India every hour to your site. It's like just one of the examples of that. That's just so annoying. But yeah, it's basically, you know, a big just mishmash of everything all in one. But to take a step back out of that and say why and where and how, you get to learn, okay, this thing is just selfish. I like to call Google a kleptomaniac. That's all it's doing is anytime it can show up for a cheap click anywhere, it will win. So we try to strip it down with feed only. Then we try to push standard shopping to try to attract those same type of people, and we works most of the time. But yeah, I'm each day I'm inching closer and closer to shutting out Performance Max across the board, and only really working with clients that measure MER. It just gets so frustrating. That
Yeah,
is,
I think with Performance Max too, like, I mean, there are use cases for it, right? Like if you're like remarketing, for example, you turn off PMax, then your overall MER drops because the Facebook audience is not getting shown as much, and that, can determine, like, you probably find like commonalities with that, with like AOVs or whatever. But I could see that being a potential.
Right. It's funny, as I'd rather just use display and discovery and RLSAs and just be like, ta-da.
Remarketing.
I rebuilt PMax.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's true. It's true. I think for larger budgets, it makes a lot of sense. I think for smaller budgets, like, you're kind of in the area of, you can kind of get away with it to a degree because you're at smaller volume. But then again, like I said, it depends on your full media mix, right? Because, like, the whole point of, a lot of accounts that we're facing is, we could run both cold, but then you find out, okay, who hits the wall first, and then scale, and then find other ways to then bolster up, for example, Google to support Facebook.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it, I guess, than just, what's the normal SOP strategy kind of comes into mind.
Right. And then also, like, just measure ROAS, call it a day.
Yeah. Get brand. Let's keep going. Let's leave optimized targeting on. Let's just scale it to the moon.
Leave optimized targeting. Build this whole strategy, and then Google just defaults to, I'm going to take it over anyway. Oh man, let's do some Q&A. This is a good one though. And if anybody has any questions about what we just discussed here, keep adding them in, as we'll do Q&A here. But hopefully everyone's now a little bit more wiser as to how to measure and when ROAS doesn't really matter, but when benchmarks during scale and limited movements of those ROAS means more. I don't care if Facebook said 10x. I don't care if it said 0.2. As long as it didn't move at scale, that was golden. That's what happened.
Well, I think the point too to take away from this, like, the golden nugget from it is essentially that graph you showed where it's like, I look at these numbers, I don't look at these numbers, right? Like, you're looking at the cost difference and then the overall metric affected by that cost difference. All the other indicators are just there as, like, essentially, like, this is an assumption. If we can find a correlation, great. If we can't, like, it defaults to that overall, view you're looking at, where it's just cost of the channel and then the overall results.
Right. It's just supplemental facts. It's like, we think these people went here, or it's like, if you see something crazy outlier that's like an oddity besides the plus and minus 10% day over day that just happens in ebb and flows of normal paid traffic on any channel. When things start to go a little bit more haywire, it's like, hey, you scaled up this PMax campaign 100%, and then your warm visits went up and your new visits went down. Okay, like, there's a correlation. I don't care if that number's wrong. It's just that trend happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 3 different points, I guess, at least how I like to say it, like 3 different points you look at, where it's like, okay, look at Google Ads. Does it look cold? Does it look warm? Okay, look at whatever, tracking you're using, whether it's like on a spreadsheet or whatever, for like the overall cost for the medium and then the overall results. And then if you have a platform that you can lean more into, like Northbeam, then you look at customer paths as well, and then use those different points to triangulate exactly what is going on in the account.
Yeah. Northbeam's actually fairly cheap now. Which is cool. They did a pricing update. I don't know exactly, but there's one client that was spending like $80K a month in Google. And Northbeam quoted him, I think, like $415 a month. And it's like, man, if you're spending 80, spend the additional $400, then really understand what's going on. I have an affiliate link. I'm purposely not really dropping it here because of that. If you wanted to support me, you can reach out and I'll find me on LinkedIn. I'll drop my affiliate link, but I'm not going to turn into a sales pitch. I do invest in the company, but you can save yourself $400 a month in ad spend. Easy. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Cool. Facebook is still working pretty well, particularly lead ads. That's good, Dave. I think that's the thing too, is I think as the demographic gets a little bit older too inside of Facebook, it's going to become more effective for quality. Honestly, that's what's really nice, is it will become more, it's like Bing. It's like 1/10 of the traffic, but they're rock solid. Jome shopping July 25th, 2023. It's like a diary. It's like shopping ads July 25th, 2023. Today.
This dark day.
Yeah. Max clicks, no limiters. 4,500,000 or 4.5 thousand clicks, 63 conversions, spent $5,000. Seasonal brand gift conversions came during season. Should I turn on only during season? I don't know what kind of gift. If it's like, Christmas stockings, yes. If it's, something that could be a little bit more, seasonal, like Mother's Day gifts, you could lower it because people still want to buy flowers, for example. So that's the thing too, is it depends on the type of season. Like if it's 1 day a year, don't crank it on 6 months early. That'd probably be a bad idea. Or have a lower budget on max clicks. Yeah, that's as far as I don't know, Joe, what it actually is. And I'm sorry, we have a company that was selling Christmas lights, but they also had different other type of lights, and it just kind of worked. That hammock company I was telling you about, seasonality, it's crazy every spring, summer, and then the winter years we hang tight at 1/15 of the spend. So it depends. Favorite Friday show. Hey, yep. So I've been chatting with you too. Submergy, it's been crazy busy. But I'll keep getting back to you on LinkedIn as much as I can. We already did that one. Gbade parameter. Yep, that one's gonna be just for app clicks.
Now, we think maybe.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I know. I wish Google and Apple would work better together. Like they work well, but I mean, Google pays Apple $12 billion a year to be the default search engine of all their devices.
Crazy.
You'd think that you would work a little bit closer together. But I guess for the end user, they don't care about digital marketers tracking conversions. Like a plumber's not going to care. So I guess it doesn't matter to everyone else. I just want to feel special and important. My max clicks shopping campaign is piggybacking off of the competitor keywords. I don't have PMax for this current product. The competitor is on PMax. Should I start a PMax campaign or forever stay on shopping and piggyback off competitor top? I mean, if your performance is good, I would actually rather stay on standard shopping if it's working well. If you have a standard shopping campaign that works well and you don't have to explain the loss of attribution like I just did you all, which is like $5,000 in first time sales. Last click was $500. Like they clicked everywhere else after that. Only one out of probably 25 sales actually clicked and then bought. Which is why A/B tests don't work. It's just like 27 clicks before something happens. So that's the thing too, is if your standard shopping is working well, I wouldn't switch to PMax. PMax is not going to offer you, in my opinion, anything more than what your standard shopping is giving you. They're just going to start to steal from each other. And if you start standard or PMax, you're probably going to see your standard shopping crash or be greatly reduced. So just know that you're giving Google the reins. I launch PMax on standard shopping if I need to remarket traffic a lot, or if my standard shopping just isn't performing. So we need Northbeam or something similar in order to monitor conversion paths. Yes. Conversion paths in app, like you do have a conversion path inside of Google. It does, but it just only reports on Google clicks. So it's like they had PMax and a brand. Or people say, yeah, but the first click was actually email. So it's like, oh, it didn't do anything. Or like the click path was like started on email and then went to the site. Then PMax remarketed them. Then they Googled the brand name and then they bought. Can't scale that. So
we used to be able, we used to kind of say, well, you can look at analytics and get kind of an idea of it, but now that's kind of changing around too. So we're kind of like, well, crap. Okay. 2 out of the 3 points of reference now is what you can really use.
I feel like Google's a mafia now. It's like UA was like letting the cat out of the bag. It's like, no. It's just going to expose PMax.
Well, realistically, I think their biggest problem is they rely too much on the exact data that they have. They're making adjustments based off of, the conversions went up in Performance Max. Great. But it's like, okay, but you don't have the data on the back end of the website. At least they probably do, but who knows? Yep. And so their data sets are just purely based off of yep, we want to get more conversions. We don't care where they come from, what they do. This is what we're going to build our ad platform around.
Yeah. And what's so funny too is GA4 was supposed to, blend conversion paths together and give it to the original source. And then they report on direct and unattributed. So it's like, it's impossible.
Yeah.
You can't have an original source of direct. Well, you can, but it's not half the traffic. 5% of the traffic, sure, maybe 10. Even Norping does that. That's the problem. Is every tool is not gonna have that. I'll give you all a really fun one. Let's do this. I'm gonna pause Q&A for a minute. Whoa, I chose the wrong screen. Hold on. I hope no one has epilepsy, because that was probably just all right. There we go.
Went through the vortex there. Yeah. We're gonna put a disclaimer.
I know. Here's a fun one, everyone. So you got 309,000 in spend on Facebook and 53,000 spend inside of Google, and then everything else is 6421. So you got 378,000, 360 are within 2 channels. And how in the ever loving Christ is the revenue coming from direct to the tune of 470 grand?
They just really like us, John. That's why.
Yeah.
They just know us.
Yeah, people just type in that URL, which is not really a known word, just perfectly right off the bat the first time. Yeah, I doubt it. So that's the loss. That's why I said no attribution tool is ever going to get this right. They're not. It's impossible. So that's why you track trends, but you get closer. So to answer your question, yes, I would use a tool like Norping. Please, for the love of God, don't use Chirp Whale's AI-driven model. It's not good. Give you a quick fun one here. Here's, Triple Whale is they're trying. Good on them. They're trying. What's funny about this stuff too is like, if we look at the last 7 days, we're like, all right, using Total Impact, a model powered by AI that uses a blend of first and zero-party data. The problem is they kind of blatantly just reattribute the zero-party data, because I don't think in the last week my YouTube Shorts that inside of Google said 0.43 and Norping says, hey, it's actually getting a 2.23. I'm like, awesome. What ad's doing good? And they're like, yeah, that they all are doing good. Like, I see that my purchases, every single ad, whether I spend $292 or $2, all made 4.6 sales and made $249, and they all, either had a 0.85 ROAS or 121, 12,000 ROAS. So I was like, that doesn't make any sense. They're basically just kind of,
linearing up.
Yeah, it's just like everything got all the purchases with all the AOVs with all the conversion value, regardless of what you spent. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, AI, baby. So yeah, that's the part too that gets a little bit messed up. So you will need a tool like Trip Whale or a tool like Norping, but conversion paths are only click based. They are only click based. I'll repeat for last time, only click based. Just because brand is getting the first click with a whole bunch of new customers, it's not starting there. Can't. It's ending there, even without a click. Facebook, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Google the brand name, first click, new customer. All right.
I think that's probably the biggest. That is probably the biggest problem with YouTube in general, just because it's so like view based. And so if YouTube was click based, oh my God, like,
oh, you're great.
Things would change a lot.
I know.
It could be very easy to prove that YouTube's working.
Yeah, I want to do a. There's 34 people here, maybe 32. I can't tell if we count, but there's 34 people here. And for those still listening, that I didn't just lullaby to sleep with my mundane voice, please chat if you've ever clicked on a YouTube ad and bought something off of that click. I want to know the difference, or I want to know the numbers, and you can say yes or no. But have you ever seen a YouTube ad and said, man, I want that, and clicked on the YouTube ad, not Google the brand name, clicked on the YouTube ad and bought something off of that click? Show of hands by typing in the chat, because I can't see anybody. Yeah. So I want to know that. That'd be interesting. We'll read that off at the end. Lay down brakes. I love that name. An agency rep I work with always mentions a latency period when we can review the performance of the previous week. We're using Alaska attribution. Can you shed any lights of yes on in the conversion rate latency? Yes. So it's called conversion lag, which means the time that it takes between when a person clicks to when they buy, or when they fill out a form. If you make changes, you made changes to now a new audience. What that means is that as you make changes, there's going to be a time period that their pipeline is expelled and then refilled after that change. Imagine if you have people in a store and there's a person walking in the store for the first time and a person checking out. If you change the price of an apple, what happens? Well, you change the price of an apple, then the person checking out maybe still buys it, but the first people walking in to the door are seeing a new price of the apple, but there's already people there that are already buying that apple or wanting to buy the apple. So that change isn't going to affect everybody equally. Same thing with making a change in Google Ads. You're making a new ad, for example. Well, the people that already saw the ad originally a week ago that are in your cart right now checking out, that wasn't because of the change. They're already warmed up and in. Your pipeline is already filled with people. So think of it like flowing river. When you make a change, you have to let the river kind of go through that change. So that's how that conversion lag works.
Another point on that too. So just kind of a case study, you would say, is I had a client that essentially was on YouTube and the CPVs were 1 to 2 cents, right? And then we saw the CPV spike up to like 6 and 7 cents. And we're like, oh my God, what is going on? The overall results dropped. But then we looked at it and we said, well, there's a conversion lag time range in there. And so we said, okay, let's give this 30 days. Let's see how this audience sort of churns into an actual conversion. And now we're finding that the conversion rate is even higher and the offset of the cost is actually worth it, surprisingly, to get a better overall value from it. So There's some weird use cases, like YouTube's kind of weird like that, to where it'll kind of jump from one audience to another inside of one larger pool of an audience. And so you just have to be very aware of, like we were just mentioning, the time lag behind that to make sure that that test is fully showing, okay, was this a good test? Was this a bad test kind of thing?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and that's always the interesting thing is, like, we had a client that we just increased the prices of all of his products, and we went from like an 8x to now the last 3 days we haven't made one sale. He's got a 9-day time lag though. And he actually told me yesterday, he goes, yeah, we're actually getting emails of people saying I'm disappointed in the price increase. I'm like, yeah, because they're there ready to buy. But now on a 9-day time lag, when you increase the price, everyone knew from the last 3 days hasn't been warmed up yet and hasn't bought yet. So it's not the performance dropped. We just refreshed the coffers with new people, but they're still shopping, which means those people saw the price and saw the ad and said, you know what, that seems like a good price. I'm interested. They just haven't bought yet. That takes 9 days on average. So that's that conversion lag. All right. 12 minutes left. Soren Tutu says, one second. Oh, I'm pressing wrong buttons. Hold on. Says mind blowing. That's awesome. Cool. Hello, everyone from Italy. Oh, that's awesome. We made it all the way to Italy, Caden. That's pretty cool. E-commerce.
I want to go to Italy. It'll be fun.
Oh, me too. Yeah. The pizza is going to be much better than what we have here in America. And the pasta and the bread and pretty much everything. All right. Hello, everyone from Italy. E-commerce. I have 5 PMAX, 1 for each group of countries that speak the same language in EU. 200 pounds. I think that's a pound, maybe a euro. No, that's a euro. 200 euros. I'm American. I don't know anything outside of my country. 200 euros a day each. Active for 76 days. Maximize conversion value without TROAS. Okay. I left the PMAX active even if at a loss to acquire data. Now I'd like to bring some money into the business while I optimize the site and conversion rate. To increase the ROAS, do you advise me to lower the PMAX budget or to set a ROAS target to be in profit again, even with a lower expense? Actual ROAS 150, BE ROAS 210, ideal ROAS 370. So my opinion, while you're saying that you're optimizing the site for conversion rate, I would just stick a TROAS on there. Honestly, right now, a TROAS is going to be the safest for you to keep it at a benchmark. I mean, you're going to see some fluctuations in spend. You're definitely going to see a dip in spend, but that will allow you to keep a very static audience, and the changes that you make on the site will show the conversion rate of that static audience. I think that would be best for you. You're not trying to scale right now. If you're trying to scale, then obviously it's a complete opposite of what I just said. But if you're looking at how do I make my site more efficient, keeping a nice, safe, slightly profitable amount of users to the site while you make changes is going to be good. Because what we're going to see in a reverse effect after time lag is going to be that Google will be able to start to spend more based on the optimizations you're making on your site. So if you're getting I have 10 sales a day, and then all of a sudden 10 sales kind of go to 11 and then 12 and then 13. Well, then now Google's going to start to spend more, and you can try to spend 1,000, set a TROAS of 400. You're only spending 200. Over time, it'll go from 200 to 300 to 400 to 500, 600. And you can kind of track how your site's doing versus how the increase in that ad spend at a safe ROAS is doing. Okay, would you agree or disagree with that?
I would agree with that, but the only thing I would ask is just if that's the only platform, or if Google Ads is all that you're using, then yes. If there's other platforms, then that kind of goes back to the previous conversation we had about, okay, where's the audience coming from exactly?
Great thinking. Yeah, that's the part I skipped over. But if you're running Facebook, Instagram, and Google, then you can't look at Google, unfortunately. Cool. It's more universal seasonal gift, photo gifting products. I leave it on all year. I would definitely increase and decrease. There's always going to be people wanting photo gifts, but not at the rate that like Mother's Day, Christmas, that kind of stuff. So I would keep that on. Hey, John and Caden, would you recommend condensing all products into a single PMAX campaign, regardless of how many you offer? We have over 20,000 in our feed, restaurant equipment industry. So to start, yes, honestly, I would consolidate everything into a single PMAX campaign, run feed only, but then build out a bunch of standard shopping campaigns. That's what I would do. Your PMAX campaign, depending upon, again, how much organic traffic, how much return traffic, how much your return customer rate is, like what's a purchase frequency, all that kind of stuff. I don't have time to go through and answer, but I know a safe setup, regardless of any outside influences, which is the existing customers and other channels. Your standard shopping can always remain very, very cold, and that's what you can scale. And your PMAX will scoop up the rest that your standard shopping couldn't get on a singular click. We just went through the first click to last click, and know how PMAX get more last click than first click, and standard shopping got way more first click than last click. Same scenario there. John, you are special and important. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, thank you.
Dave's always your number one cheerleader, man.
Thanks, dude. Love you, buddy. The CPC rises up when I set it to target ROAS. Is about $2. Is this too high for standard shopping? Should I switch back to manual? I prefer a really high CPC click. So I know that sounds stupid, but that's because I don't measure in platform, and I know that the more expensive the clicks I get, usually the conversion rate is better because I'm getting a person that's a little bit more, a little more like, oh yeah, make sure that your price is like double your competitors and then try to outrank them. That's not going to work. It's like same product, twice as much. I will pay $5 more than you. It's like, cool. That's a bad idea. So that's a big FYI there, is make sure that you're priced competitively and attractively according to your competitors, then bid high. That's my opinion. One of my websites has GMC suspended for violating the misrepresentation policy. I have a third-party Amazon review plugin from Shopify importing our reviews. I think Google might be flagging it. That, Joe, also, just make sure that you have all of your price policy, shipping policy, return policy, all the policies. That is actually the most common misrepresentation issue, too. Just make sure you have that as well.
And the payments on the bottom as well, too.
And the payments. Yep. I just got a company just got reinstated because their shipping policy was not in the footer. I called the client. I'm like, you just put it in the footer. Yeah, and he puts it in the footer. I wait like 3 days for caching to be cleared, hit request, and boop, got one change, got it right back in there. And it was a misrepresentation issue. Hi, John. Hi. I'm going to butcher this name. Sorry, man. Poria? I hope I got that one. Show of hands if I'm not bright. Poria? Shut up. All right. Hi, John. We have several different campaigns that are exact copies of each other for a lead gen client. Each campaign targets a different market. Is there more? Oh, there it is. I'm considering combining all of them for efficiency, but the client is concerned that established markets will lose search impression share, even though their goal is to have lowest CPA with the highest quality leads. Yeah, that you have to choose one. Are you focused on high quality, low CPA, or do you want specific type of leads? What's funny is I would tell him or her, whoever the client is, if I have 5 campaigns and I'm just going to use dumb numbers, $40, $30, $20, $10, and $5 CPAs, when I combine them, you're going to get these 2 more often. That's what's going to happen. So you kind of lose the ability to choose when you combine them or when you not combine them. But if you say, I want higher quality leads, why don't we just stick more ad spend into there? Or why don't we just restructure the ad spend? So my opinion, I wouldn't combine them, because then when you try to, if it's bad, then you're like, well, crap, now you have to relaunch everything. And then you're going to go through slow period. My opinion is whether you're combining, whether you want to combine them or not, just dictate by ad spend. client, their goal is to have lowest CPA. Great. Say, I don't need to combine them. Why don't I just shove more ad spend here? That's what's going to happen if I combine them. So you're just going to get more of these leads. Is that okay? That'd be my thought.
I would also get involved if you can with their back end to understand, okay, if the CRM is actually saying, hey, these are actually quality leads or not. Because at the end of the day, right, like bad leads aren't really going to turn into anything. So the CPA is going to look $5, great, but end result is kind of what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly right. All right. I know you use MER as your North Star, but is optimizing for your conversion path a better way to go than optimizing for in-platform conversion value by ROAS? Yes. So MER is how well you're optimizing your conversion path. Think about it, less wasted ad spend on paths that don't matter. That's what you're doing. So MER is my North Star, but that even goes down to in-platform conversion value and ROAS. If I have a standard, or if I have a broad match campaign that is getting 1,000 clicks and gets one conversion, that's going to have a bad ROAS. I still take that in consideration, but double check that by saying, if I pause that, what happens to my MER? Does it go up? If it goes down, maybe you have a tracking problem. I mean, it could be anything. So that's the thing too, is MER is your gold North Star. Everything else you use as in-platform metrics to make sure that when you change that, your North Star stays right. What I don't do is say, well, this has a 5,000 ROAS. I'm going to crank it up and my MER dips because now I'm spending more on the same people. And then say, well, ROAS looks good. I don't care that you're hemorrhaging cash, Mr. Client. I need my paycheck. But then the client can't pay you because you broke them. So that's how that works. Now that we all know John hates PMAX and Google. I'm kind of like a lover scorned kind of thing. Like I still love it, but I'm upset with it now. Like we're fighting, mom and dad are in an argument right now kind of thing. Now that we all know John hates PMAX at Google, when starting a new ads account for e-com, do you recommend running standard shopping only from day one or mix of standard PMAX? I actually recommend running a PMAX campaign. I do. Usually the introduction of PMAX does help MER because anything else that the client is doing outside of Google that's gonna help them. I don't look at that and try to scale that only unless I can prove that it is all not brand cold traffic and it actually affects the top line. So that's the thing, is it really, really, really depends on the client. If you're only running Google and nothing else, and you don't have a great brand name, but you have really awesome products, I only run PMAX. I have a 2,500 ROAS for the last 2 years PMAX campaign. Well, smart shopping into PMAX, but PMAX campaign that is one brand, maybe conversion a month. And I get, I spend 10 grand and make like 220,000. Yeah, I'm not getting rid of that for standard shopping. No way. But I know it can't eat anything else because it's not running Facebook or Instagram, or they don't have organic traffic. It is only PMAX and it's all cold. So it really, really, really depends, as every answer I always give.
It's just a tool at the end of the day. It's just a tool that's going to grab conversions however you want to leverage the tool.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do this here. I have a minute left, so I was going to look at this. Oh, here we go. I'm so sorry we can't get to all the questions. Dave says, I had an ex-girlfriend that was like triple whale. That's amazing. Oh yeah, to the question, have you ever bought anything off of a YouTube click? We have. No. Joe King says once, so we got 2-1. Never once in my life. Never. Nope. Yeah, so we have no. Okay, so we have like 10 no's and 1 yeses. And when the person said once, was that to check tracking? Is that why you clicked on your own ad, Boston, to just check that? You can say it. It's okay. Just kidding. It's funny. His name is Joe King. Maybe he is joking because I don't.
Maybe, yeah. That'd make us look like idiots for sure.
Exactly. Here's the thing, though, everyone, is you all measure YouTube by ROAS, right? But everyone in this channel just said that they don't click on YouTube ads. So measure differently. I'll leave you with that. That's the digital marketer dad advice. It's funny, Caden. Like I always just embarrass you. It's fun. I feel like you're just.
It's like, too easy, man. It's too easy.
I know. I do that to my daughter. Like I drop her off for school. I'm like, Daddy loves you. Like, it's just fun to do that. All right, everyone. I'll see you all